What is up guys, Andy Forrest Team Runner here, and today we're taking the Nike PEGASUS 37 out on the speed test. So good morning, we're out here on the industrial estate of dreams. It's 5:30 in the morning and we're out here about to do some 1 kilometre repeats. I'm meeting up with Lee and we're testing them out in the Nike PEGASUS 37s. So today is all about just seeing how these things handle speed. I'm not holding out any hope with them. And so yeah, then the camera died. So it's now Thursday morning. I'm so sorry we got no footage of that speed session, but I am back with Lee and he's out this morning putting in some early miles. I'm out this morning putting in some early miles. We're not running together for the full run, but we'll run together for a couple of miles. And yesterday was an awesome speed session. I'm so gutted we could have filmed each other, it would have been epic. But we ended up doing 8 by a K and we did them at sort of attempted 10k pace, and had to be a bit more disciplined. They weren't a balls out effort. It was a 90 seconds recovery, so we had to be smart. It was warm despite it being so early, and yeah, we got it done. We smashed it, did the ups and the downs on the industrial estate. So that is the workout for the speed stuff done in the PEG 37. Now onto the long run. Good morning, it is the long run test for the Nike PEGASUS 37. Today we're out early doors, Saturday morning. I've had 4 hours sleep. I'm absolutely hanging. And once again, I apologise, I have not got the GoPro with me because guess what? It was fully charged last night and I woke up this morning, turned it on and it had 3% left and it died. I've ordered a new battery before I send it back. I just need to check that that's the issue. So I apologise for the lack of B-roll today, but the goal today is just to go out there and get a solid long run done and dusted in the PEGASUS. There's going to be nothing regarding pace. It's just going to be what I can manage. I'm 4 miles in, suffering already. So we're just going to see how the shoes do. They've had a solid week, to be fair. Nothing crazy, but nothing horrific, to be honest with you. We're already at 40 miles, and today, depending on the distance, should take us up and over the 50-mile mark. So I'm going to get this long run done, and I'll touch base with you at the end and let you know how it got on. Just like that, we have 62 miles racked up already in the Nike PEGASUS 37. We've done the speed test, we've done the long run test, and we've put a whole heap of easy miles into this shoe this week. I've got a good idea now of how this shoe is faring, and I'm excited to share my thoughts on how the thing performed on the speed test and the long run test. Once again, a massive apologies for the lack of B-roll and footage on those 2 workouts. I was so gutted. The GoPro will hopefully be fixed next week with a new battery. If not, it'll be going back and we'll be returning it and hopefully getting another one because it's just doing crazy things at the moment. Anyway, we will start today with the speed test. So as you saw, we were out early doors on Wednesday morning for 1 session this week, just the one, just because we ended up starting the week on Tuesday rather than Monday. Had an impromptu rest day. The long run in the Brooks Hyperion Tempo kind of really did something to my calves, and I had to kind of have a bit of a break on Monday and enforce rest day. So we started on Tuesday, which means that I did a session on Wednesday, and I just thought to myself, I want to give it some good welly on the long run on the weekend on Saturday, which we didn't in the end, but we'll talk about very shortly. So I ended up just doing the 1 session, 8 by 1k, tried to be very disciplined, shorten the rest to 90 seconds and tried to keep the pace in and around 10k pace. And that's exactly what happened. But how did this shoe fare? Well, first of all, we had fun with Lee. First run with Lee in a long time, and it was great. We paced each other and we got the job done. Super early, no breakfast, super hot. The shoe is not geared up for speed work, and being completely honest with you, it's not geared up. Although I have kind of changed my mind on this shoe, which we'll get to at the end. It's definitely not a shoe I'm going to be picking for speed. Obviously, as you guys know, 375 grams in my size. I think it was 13 point something ounces. I can't remember now off the top of my head, but it's a heavy shoe in my UK size 13. And although it did well, we ended up clocking some 323 kilometre pace on the downhill one and 330, 331, 332 on the uphill one, which is decent. It's exactly where I wanted to be pace-wise. It made hard work of it. It really was an effort, and I really did notice these things. One thing I have to say about these shoes is you notice them on their feet. They're not subtle. I've got heavier shoes and they can sometimes blend in. You can forget that they're on your feet because you just get into a nice routine. This one does not do that. But overall, we got the job done. It did quite well. I can understand why it's a daily trainer and it's for the everyday everyday runner that wants to do everything in this shoe. Yes, it's a little bit heavy for those tempo runs and interval days, but overall we got the job done, as I said, and it did okay. Now on to the long run, the more interesting one of the two. This is kind of, I was really dreading this long run all week because obviously we had the miler and that was a horrific 18-mile long run, or 20, whatever we did in that thing, and that's super, super heavy, way heavier than this. And I was kind of really, really worried that overall I would just struggle, wouldn't be able to pick up the pace. And ultimately, as you saw by the B-roll footage or the bit of footage that we did get from today, I did have a very sleepless night. 4 hours sleep is not long enough to go and do a long run. So I did have to dial it back. I wasn't able to push in any way, shape or form. But as the week went on with this shoe, I started to kind of get that lockdown issue and the heel slippage issue that I talked about in the first impression sorted. It's very small, as you can see the knots here and the laces that you're left with are small, but by doing that, using the extra lace loop here, extra eyelet chain, it worked a treat. I've not had any heel slippage and I've not had any lockdown issues, and it's been pretty good. Now, despite the fact that this thing is heavy, it's been okay on the easy runs. It's not been too bad, and I've managed to kind of break it in. I do think the React in this shoe in particular, not in the miler, I have not found this in the miler, but in this shoe it does feel like it's broken in, and it's a little bit better than what it was in the beginning. And I've had a very comfortable, albeit heavy and sometimes sluggish, a very comfortable ride. So today ended up being exactly that. I was tired. It took me until about mile 8 to really wake up and realise what I was doing, but as we were ticking off the miles, it was just starting to float by and I was feeling really, really positive. And we got to 20 miles at the pace that we ran at. We dialed it back a bit and it was fantastic. It was really, really good. I was so happy. When I got to the end, my legs were great. Yes, it was heavy. Yes, I noticed the shoe, but it was actually quite a good shoe. First thing I thought when I finished was, actually, this isn't a bad shoe. If I'm not looking to do a speedy long run, this actually isn't that bad of a choice. I'd still pick the Nova Blast for an easier long run, but this isn't a bad second place. I actually think I would pick this over the 1080 version 10, which I never thought I'd say. But overall, I finished and I was actually quite pleasantly surprised with how this thing fared. We rode from mile 1 to 20 in comfort. The air pocket in the front is actually really, really nice, and I'm noticing it more and more. The more I run, I'm actually getting a little bit, dare I say it, a little bit more responsiveness from the shoe than I did in the very beginning. So I think overall what I'm trying to say is, on the long run, it fared really, really well. And so where does that leave me with my overall thoughts for this shoe? Well, I don't want to blow this thing's ego up too much. Yes, it is still a very heavy, very weighty, clunky shoe. I have other shoes in and around this category that are lighter and that are more fun to run in. But I have to be honest and put my hands up, and this is why I like to do first impressions reviews and speed tests and long run tests, because actually this thing really did shine on the long run. I mean, it wasn't by any means amazing, it didn't blow my mind, but it didn't do badly, and I was kind of expecting it to be a real struggle to get from mile 1 to 20, and it just wasn't. And so these tests highlight to me shoes' weaknesses and strengths, and obviously, as I expected, speed is not this thing's strength. But in terms of the long run, I wouldn't hesitate to take this thing out again if I was looking to go on a nice, little bit more chilled out, long, slower distance run. I certainly wouldn't choose it if I was going to pick up the pace, do a marathon workout in the shoe. No way would I choose it. But yeah, I would certainly think about picking it up if I wanted to chill out that day and just soak up the miles. It was really, really comfy. And overall, now I've got the heel slippage done and I've got the lockdown sorted, and all of the original issues that I had in the first impressions have disappeared. I actually have no gripes about the shoe other than the weight. As I said in the beginning, I can see why this has been such a staple in Nike's lineup. I'm not going to, as I said, sing its praises too much because there are better shoes. I have better shoes than this thing, but I'm left feeling a little bit more satisfied, and for the money that you pay, £105, it's well worth the money. Like, it's not overpriced. We're not talking Hyperion Tempo, £140, Turbo 2, 160 or whatever it retails at, 140. £105, you're going to get something that does a little bit of everything. As I said, I'm not going to say it's great for speed stuff, but overall, if you want a trainer to soak up the miles, then actually Oh, you can't go far wrong with this thing. As I said, I'd still pick the Nova Blast. I'm on the fence now whether I prefer this to the 1080. I'll probably still edge the 1080 just because of overall the 1080 is a better package and it fits me better. But the one thing I've got to say about Nike is they really get my foot shape. Whatever it is about Nike shoes, regardless of the ride, the foot shape just works for my feet. It's just a shame that they're using this blooming React midsole. I'm really hoping that further down the line in future versions they'll ditch React and come up with some newer, better, fancier midsole, because we've got things like Fuel Cell and we've got Power Run PB and the Flight Foam Blast and all these amazing midsoles coming out, and I just look at React and think this is where you're lagging behind. If you can sort this out, then this package as a whole is going to be a darn sight better. So that's it for today, guys. Those are my overall thoughts on the Nike Pegasus 37. Overall, pleasantly surprised towards the end. Would I recommend it? I'd recommend it if you're looking for a daily trainer and you're not worrying too much about weight. Certainly wouldn't recommend it for speed work, but overall it's done the job. So I'm looking forward to taking this thing to 100 miles and giving you a wear and tear performance review after that, and then we will see if we take it any further. So that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, guys, please do make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, I will see you on the next one. Until then,